Most people think Route 66 is just a long drive through empty desert with a few old signs along the way. It's not. This road is 2,448 miles of roadside history, weird art, and moments that genuinely stop you in your tracks. Here are the 10 attractions that make the whole trip worth it. 10. Chicago, Illinois. Every great road trip needs a proper starting gun, and Route 66 has one. At the corner of East Adams Street and South Michigan Avenue in downtown Chicago, there's a sign that simply says Begin Route 66. That's it. No fanfare, no ticket booth, just a sign, a sidewalk, and 2,448 miles of open road ahead of you. Standing there, looking at that sign, it hits you that millions of people have stood in that exact spot with the same mix of excitement and nerves you're feeling right now. Families fleeing the Dust Bowl in the 1930s, veterans heading west after the war, road trippers chasing a legend they heard in a song. You're stepping into a very long line of people who needed this road for something. The practical tip before you even get started: a lot of travelers actually begin their drive from Joliet instead of downtown Chicago. Parking in the city is a headache, traffic is unpredictable, and the one-way streets around the starting point can eat an hour before you've driven a single mile of the actual route. Starting from Joliet skips all of that without missing anything essential. Either way, get the photo at the sign if you can. You'll want proof that you were there at mile 0. 9. Gemini Giant. He's part of a series of giant fiberglass figures called Muffler Men, built in the 1960s when roadside businesses figured out that nothing pulls in a passing car quite like a towering humanoid statue. This one was made to stand outside the Launching Pad Drive-In, named after the Gemini space program at the height of the space race. The drive-in is gone now, but the giant stayed. Free to see from the roadside, though the surrounding area has a gift shop if you want to make a proper stop of it. Go early in the day when the light is good for photos, and keep your eyes open because he sneaks up on you faster than you'd expect. 8. Cadillac Ranch. Cadillac Ranch was created in 1974 by a group of art collective members who convinced a local helium billionaire to let them bury vintage Cadillacs on his land. The cars span model years from 1949 to 1963, tracking the rise and fall of the iconic tail fin design. It's part art installation, part social experiment, and completely Route 66. Here's what makes it different from every other stop on this list. You're not just looking at it. Visitors are actively encouraged to bring a can of spray paint and leave their mark on the cars. The surface changes almost daily. What you see when you arrive will never look exactly the same to the person who comes the week after you. 7. Blue Whale. Catoosa, Oklahoma is not a place most people have on their radar before driving Route 66, but the Blue Whale has been pulling cars off the road since the 1970s. Built by a local animal collector named Hugh Davis on a small pond near his home. It originally functioned as a swimming hole for the family and local community. Kids used to swim out and dive off the whale's mouth. The pond is no longer open for swimming, but the whale is still there, still smiling, still completely inexplicable in the best possible way. Parking is free, there are shaded picnic tables nearby, and a small gift shop sits at the entrance. It's a quick stop, but it's the kind of quick stop you end up talking about for the rest of the trip. 6. Wigwam Motel. Built in the 1950s, the Wigwam Motel is one of only 3 Wigwam-style motels still standing in the entire country. Each room is its own individual concrete structure shaped like a teepee, and the property keeps a collection of classic cars parked out front purely for atmosphere. It is not trying to be subtle. It was never trying to be subtle. That's the whole point. Staying here isn't just about the novelty though, it's about understanding what Route 66 travel actually felt like during its golden era. Motels like this were designed to be impossible to drive past. Roadside architecture as advertising, built at a time when standing out was the only marketing strategy that mattered. Walking around the property at night, with the cars lined up and the concrete teepees lit up against the Arizona sky, you get a version of Route 66 that no museum can replicate. So here's a question for the comments. Are you a plan every night in advance traveler, or do you prefer figuring it out as you go? Drop your answers down below and why. 5. Midpoint Cafe. Adrian, Texas sits at the exact mathematical midpoint between Chicago and Santa Monica. 1,139 miles behind you, 1,139 miles still to go. And right there on the side of the road is the Midpoint Cafe, with a line painted across the parking lot marking the spot. there's something about standing on that line that hits differently than any other stop on the route. The trip stops being abstract at this point. You've actually driven half of Route 66. Travelers who've done the full drive consistently describe this moment as the one where the trip stops feeling like a vacation and starts feeling like something else entirely. Something harder to name but impossible to miss. The surrounding area is flat and wide open in every direction, which actually makes the stop feel more significant, not less. There's nothing competing for your attention, just the road, the line, and the realization that you're halfway through one of the greatest drives in the world. If you're ready to start planning your Route 66 trip, I've linked the best current travel deals in the description below to help you book for less. 4. Blue Swallow. The Blue Swallow Motel has been serving road trippers since 1939, and its neon sign is one of the most photographed images on the entire route. The whole town is lined with neon signs, retro murals, and classic motor courts that have somehow survived the bypass of the interstate system that gutted so many other Route 66 towns. Walking the main strip feels like flipping through a postcard collection from 1955. The Blue Swallow itself is a classic motor court design, individual garages attached to each room, a glowing neon sign out front, vintage decor throughout. It has been carefully preserved without being sanitized. It still feels lived in, which is exactly what you want from a place like this. The best time to visit Tucumcari is at dusk, when the neon signs start coming on one by one and the whole street takes on a warm amber glow. If you're not staying the night, at least time your drive through town for the early evening. The murals are worth a slow walk too. They cover everything from desert wildlife to Route 66 history, and several of them are genuinely impressive pieces of public art. 3. Petrified Forest. The Petrified Forest National Park is the only national park that Route 66 runs directly through, and it contains fossilized trees that are over 200 million years old. Let that number sit for a second. The logs scattered across the ground here were living trees before dinosaurs dominated the earth. They were buried under sediment, stripped of their organic material over millions of years, and replaced molecule by molecule with solid quartz crystal. What looks like wood is actually stone, and some of the pieces still show the grain, the bark, the rings. It is genuinely one of the strangest and most beautiful things you will see on this entire trip. Entry is free with an America the Beautiful Pass, which costs $80 annually and pays for itself quickly if you're hitting multiple national parks on your road trip. There is also an original 1932 Studebaker inside the park, marking the path of the old Route 66 roadbed, which is exactly the kind of detail that makes this stop feel complete. 2. Standing Corner Park. This one sounds like it shouldn't work. A park built around a single line from a song in a small Arizona town on a road that was decommissioned in 1985. And yet Standin on the Corner Park is one of the most visited stops on the entire route. There's a bronze statue of a man with a guitar, a trompe-l'oeil mural of a girl in a flatbed Ford painted on the side of a brick building, and a Route 66 sign that is reportedly one of the largest on the entire highway. What actually makes this stop land is harder to explain. It's the combination of the music, the desert light, the brick buildings, and the feeling that you are standing inside a moment that meant something to a lot of people for a very long time. One visitor described it as the stop that made the whole trip feel real. Winslow also has the famous La Posada Hotel nearby, one of the most celebrated historic hotels on the route, if you're looking for a place to spend the night in genuine style. 1. Santa Monica Pier. After 2,448 miles through 8 states, past spacemen and buried Cadillacs and concrete teepees and fossilized trees, Route 66 delivers you to the Santa Monica Pier on the edge of the Pacific Ocean. There's an end of the trail sign between Pacific Park and the pier itself, and when you see it, something settles. This is not the most dramatic stop on the list visually. It's a busy pier with rides and shops and tourists who have no idea you just drove across the country to get here. But that contrast is actually what makes it work. The world kept moving while you were out on the road. You went somewhere most people only talk about going, and now you're standing at the finish line with sand and salt air and the Pacific stretching out in front of you. Arrive early morning to beat the crowds and get clean photos at the end of the trail sign. Parking near the pier fills up fast, especially on weekends. But honestly, after 2,448 miles, finding a parking spot is the easiest thing you'll have done all trip. Route 66 was decommissioned in 1985, but 85% of the original road is still drivable today. The attractions on this list are proof that the best parts of it never actually went anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love this next one.